I had to take her to Paris and have her drink a bottle of wine before I could get my mom on the podcast, but here we are. How does it feel, Mom?
The Eiffel Tower, it feels awesome.
You got to hold your mic up. We talked about
Whatever
that.
You say, Ashley, I'll do whatever you say. Okay.
This feels like a hostage crisis situation, but it's not.
Don't
You are here on your own will. We should say that off the top. You are here on your own free will. Cheers. Cheers.
At the Eiffel Tower.
We're here at the Eiffel Tower. I tell people all the time that we need to start keeping track of our bucket list, especially as moms who have done so much for other people. You need to pay attention to what you want to do. This was a bucket list item, and here we are.
And here we are.
And here we are. Okay. Now, my other friend, Judy, sent me a list of questions when I was telling her that I was going to interview. Judy is a friend of ours who knows you very well. And because Lisa can't be here, and part of that isn't because she didn't want to, but it's because my cell phone is dead. She was going to FaceTime in, and that's not going to happen. So, Lisa, sorry, you're dearly missed. We love you, and we've got a couple questions from you. But Judy sent me a list of full questions. So some of these are coming from me, but most of these are going to come from Jude's. And as we tell everyone, just answer honestly and openly, and we can cut out anything you don't want us to use at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe take one more sip of wine before we start.
Okay, good idea.
Is there anything that you want to ask me before we start?
No, I'm just proud you're my daughter.
Oh, I'm proud you're my mom. How lovely is that? Okay. Well, welcome to your mom.
Thank you. I've been waiting to be on.
I have also been waiting for you to be on. It's been the number one question I've gotten since we started this podcast called Your Mom. And I think the appropriate way to start my interview with my mom is for you to talk about your mom, my grandmother, Margaret Earhart. And I think we start there because Judy said this is a beautiful opportunity to be able to talk about not only our relationship, but your relationship with your mom, which is informative to, I think, how you became a parent as well. So tell me about Margaret Earhart, Mom.
She was married at 21
Ooh.
to leave the house. Had 7 children, 6 siblings. And she worked, didn't go to college, very smart. It's a good mom, as good as she can be. And 6 kids is a lot.
6 kids
Glad
is a
I only
lot.
had 2.
And the youngest, Kristen, had cystic fibrosis. So she was sick.
From when she was a baby, really.
Yep. And she passed away when she was 25. Yes. And my Aunt Kristen was amazing. She was best. We could do a whole podcast on her for sure, but she was formative, I think, obviously to your life and to mine as well. What were things that you loved about your mom, and what was something that was hard about your mom?
I love that she took care of her kids, and my dad was building a business. He started a business when she already had 5 of us, and we were pretty young. So she did most of it. And she did have a mental illness, and that was difficult. She sometimes yelled at her kids, but sometimes I did that too. That's what I learned. I actually love that.
Yeah.
And let's see. She had a beautiful voice. She's a soprano.
You told me that today, and that was one of those things that I felt badly because I had no idea that she had a great voice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and a soprano.
Have it. A soprano.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
I don't have it either. I think I got more. If there was a baritone gene, maybe I got that one. But yeah, Margaret was amazing. She was really good to us, always spoiled us. I have told the story of the fish tank on one of these episodes in which she fiercely defended her granddaughter because she couldn't have imagined that I did anything wrong to a fish tank. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're just going to have to go back and look up that episode.
You really did. I just said the fish tank broke. You were responsible.
The fish tank
for it.
broke, and I played a part in it.
Quickly gave you a 50 spot.
To help me pay for it. So rest in peace, Margaret Earhart. She did, as we have talked about. Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah. And you know what I think you got from her that I really appreciate is that you make every holiday feel really special. You do, because you always, and I roll my eyes, and as you know this, I roll my eyes at you sometimes because I just think we don't need to have the perfect placemats and the perfect napkins, and kids are going to be crying like they are here in Paris anyways. But as I've gotten a little bit older and my kids are now really into every single holiday, you make them special, and the extra effort makes a difference. And I think you got that from her.
And my mom always did that.
Yeah.
Christmas, Easter, whatever.
It was just, we always make sure we make the Christmas cookies and dye the Easter eggs, all those things. And it does matter, the traditions that pass on. What was something that you always wanted to tell your mom and didn't?
I don't think I ever directly told her that I love her.
Oh.
We didn't say that in my family.
Really?
Really.
She never said it to you?
I don't think so. Maybe when I was little, I'm sure.
Yeah. But you don't remember it as an adult?
I had one sister a year older than me and one a year younger. And they came rapid succession after that. So, yeah.
That makes me a little sad.
And
I don't think I realized that.
Ask her. She never had a chance to go to college. Her dad thought only the boys needed to go to college.
Yeah.
She was very smart. What she would have liked to do besides be a mom? That would have been a good question.
What do you think she would have done?
I don't know. She could have sang professionally.
Yeah.
Played the piano. I'm sure she'd be good in bookkeeping, sales. She used to sell kids' shoes. She was fun.
She was, but she did. She made the holidays special, and I loved going to visit her in Lake Michigan. We should mention, by the way, I'll probably have said this in the open, but by way of your background, born in Dearborn, Michigan, right outside Detroit, grew up in Michigan, families from Grand Rapids. You mentioned your dad, my grandpa, started a construction business. You went to Colorado for undergrad. You got your Bachelor of Nursing.
Right.
This is a good thing for me to make sure that I'm getting right. And then you went to University of Michigan for your master's, for your grad school. Okay, so you are also very smart. And my older brother Alex and I say this all the time, that you are probably smarter than we give you credit for.
Yeah, not smarter than your dad, but smarter than you give credit for.
Yeah, we're not comparing. We're not comparing anything.
You need genes from both.
There were a lot of good genes from both sides. Yes, I agree with that. When you became a mom, what surprised you most about the experience? What did you expect compared to what happened when your perfect little Alex came screaming into the world?
I felt totally protective. Like I was a mother bear, and I don't know where it came from. It's physical. It's human, I think.
Yeah.
Everything was about that baby. The baby's needs came first. It was always first, and everyone else was after that. And it was okay, because that's what you needed
to get through, to keep them alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What was Alex like as a baby compared to me?
Oh, Alex was easier.
But then teenage years rolled around and I was way easier, right?
He was a beautiful baby.
He was. Oh, you can tell this story. Go ahead, because I know where this is going.
Picture beautiful baby.
Still is beautiful baby.
Still is, yeah.
Yeah. Tall, beautiful baby.
And Ashley was born I lived in Colorado, so my sister came to visit me, my older sister. And she looked at her and she said, "Oh, she kind of looks like a mole."
It's very mole-esque.
And I just remember thinking, I guess my beautiful baby was my boy. And that's okay. I mean, Ashley's Ashley. Little did I know.
Your beautiful baby was your boy, though.
Like
that's great.
Just
yeah.
Cuter and cuter.
Yeah. And you also gave me a name that your father-in-law didn't particularly love.
We named her Ashley Adamson. And the first thing my father-in-law said was, "Ashley Adamson, it sounds like an English whore." And I remember being totally put out at the time. Like, who could say that about this sweet baby?
Yeah, this mole of a baby. How could you say this about this poor, ugly baby?
But, that was him.
So an English whore that looked like a mole. I came from humble beginnings. And here we are doing a podcast in front of the Eiffel Tower. I showed you, all of you. Oh, man. Who did you look up to, or who did you talk to when Alex and I were little and you were trying to figure it out? Like, who did you go to for parenting advice? Or did you...
My girlfriends who usually single parents. A little bit my sister. I think my girlfriend. That was who I was around. So.
Yeah. And so, again, you married my dad, Gary, and you guys got divorced when I was 2.
Right. I was married almost 5 years.
5 years. And then you and Alex and I moved to Michigan, and that was when you went back to grad school.
Right. I was almost 30 at the time. Right.
Yeah. That's wild to me because I think about what I was doing when I was 30 and I was living in Alex's basement when I was 30.
But you had this job.
I did have this job.
Worked as a nurse, but it was hard. And as a single parent, I'd work in the evenings, and then I'd pick you up from daycare at midnight, wake you guys up in your pajamas, put you in the cold car. It was crazy. So I thought I needed a day job. So I went into health administration.
Which was smart. And you worked very hard for many years in that industry for University of Michigan after you finished your master's, right?
University of Colorado.
Yep. When were you most worried about us? Maybe me in particular, maybe Alex in particular, maybe it was the same time. But
I think when my husband decided that he didn't want to be married anymore, Ashley was only 18 months old. And I was kind of shock and disbelief and very sad. And I was afraid that because I was sad, she wouldn't be a happy child. But that did not happen, unfortunately.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You were worried that...
It's fair to say I was depressed.
Yeah.
In shock.
I think that's fair.
But that didn't happen. So I'm glad. And we almost have no pictures of Ashley when she was a baby from that
Yeah, that ugly baby. Thank God we don't have any pictures.
Taking care of you to take pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, you were in survival mode.
Pictures all the time.
Yeah, we've got plenty of pictures now. We've made up for lost time. What was I like as a kid? So I was happy as a kid.
Yeah, you were athletic. You were competitive. You were smart. Alex was very smart. It was hard to be smart compared to Alex.
Yep.
You were pretty smart.
Yeah, Alex
did well.
I think I had a complex about that Alex was. We were smart in different ways.
Yeah, you were very, very, very social and always had a lot of friends. And you had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And even more in high school, which some of it I didn't know about until later. They say you don't tell your parents some things until they're old enough to hear them.
It's true. It's true.
It's probably just as well.
When were you the maddest at me? And you can be honest. This can be. You've pumped my tires enough. You can be honest with me now.
God.
Or disappointed?
Let's see. When you were thinking about when Ashley was deciding where to go to college, her brother was at Notre Dame, which is a good school. She got in. And she also got into Boston College. And we went on a trip to visit it in the middle of winter in the snow. And it just seemed great.
It did.
And her dad was paying the tuition and room and board. And so she could go there. And I really wanted you to go there. And you were thinking about going to South Bend. And I thought, it would be a lost opportunity. It's a bigger world.
Yeah.
Boston. And hey, well, look what happened. You got your undergrad degree in English from Boston College, and then you went on and got your master's at Boston University.
Yeah.
And it was a new world. Think of all the people you met there, your husband, most notably.
So the thing that you were about to be disappointed in me, you didn't end up it ended up that you were happy.
Yeah.
Because I didn't make the wrong decision.
That I wanted you to make. But I don't think I forced you.
No, you didn't. You didn't. And I should probably give my dad here a little bit of credit because he went to Notre Dame and obviously I'm sure would have loved for me to go to Notre Dame, but never once said that, gave his opinion on what I should or shouldn't do. Which I appreciate.
And your brother had gone there.
And my brother was there.
For him.
That was the whole reason. I think that was the whole reason that I was going to go to Notre Dame was because of Alex. And then when I realized that Alex was going to be there for a year and a half of the time that I was there because he was studying abroad in France.
In France, yes.
By the way.
Here we are.
Comes around. That I think ultimately, well, do you remember what you said to me?
No, tell me.
You said you don't want to marry a guy from Notre Dame.
Did I say that?
You did. You did. You had some.
Which I did.
You had some baggage from that. And I think the reality is, if I had married, who knows what would have happened? But we wouldn't be sitting here in front of the Eiffel Tower. That's for damn sure.
True.
I'd probably be in the Chicago suburbs, not married to the love of my life. Yeah. And I would be, I know, I wouldn't even know what a podcast is, probably. So, good job, good intuition. You knew this was coming.
I wanted you to have your own thing in a...
No, and I think I did too. And I felt like I got into BC on my own. And there was probably part of me that was like, I would have always been in Alex's
And you made friends.
shadow.
Right away.
And I know I would have just hung out with him and his friends, and I needed to go do my own thing. And it was the best decision ever. Boston College was the best decision ever.
Ashley was there 2 days. I went for parents orientation. And I was getting ready to go, and I was so sad. And then some boy from campus that met Ashley the day before said, "Hey, Ashley, how you doing?" And she'd already made friends. So.
Everybody's made friends. I will tell you, I was surprised. Like, I remember this very vividly when you dropped me off at my dorm room and you left. You were on the porch of Keys North, and you just started crying. And it was so helpful. We had a great 3 days where there was no real emotion or anything that whole time. And then all of a sudden you dropped me off and you just start crying. Then I started crying because then I felt sad. And then I thought, well, should I feel sadder? But then it didn't even occur to me that you just dropped off your last child at college.
Baby,
yes.
And life changes.
And life changes. And it was never going to be the same.
I tell all my friends with kids in junior high school. Spend time with them.
Spend time with them. Yes, they are. It happens very quickly. And I just remember that very poignantly. And then I felt so bad. And then I didn't know, I didn't know what to say to make it feel better, because it was like, oh yeah, this is really real.
I don't remember crying at all. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, totally. You were really crying. It was right at the very end when we said goodbye.
You came out okay.
Yeah, and so did you. You turned out just fine.
Thanks, Ash. I appreciate that.
I think I'm going to have a little more wine. These, by the way, shout out to Judy for these amazing questions, because these are all coming from her. And I didn't know the answer to a few of them the way that you've answered, Mom. So I'm learning new things. If you could go back and get one parenting decision do-over, what would it be? Which must be hard because both of your children are perfect.
Nearly. Yeah. So it's funny. It's hard to say one, but I felt like because I was a single parent and I was in grad school and then starting my career, there wasn't enough of me to go around.
Yeah.
And so when you had a soccer game, I would go to every other game. I thought, well, I can do that. And when we moved to Colorado and I saw that your dad was going to every single track meet and basketball game and everything, I thought, oh yeah, maybe I should be doing that.
I don't ever remember though, Mom. I don't remember you not. I remember you being at our games.
Good. I changed.
Yeah. I think both Alex and I knew that you did everything you could. And I've told you this before, and I've said this on this podcast before. When I'm home alone with my two kids for any real stretch of time, I just think, no wonder you're freaking crazy, because kids make us crazy. And you did, it's amazing what you did, because you did the best that you did. And it was good for Alex and I, because we became very independent.
You were 1 and Alex was 3 when I became a single parent.
Yeah.
And you came home from school when you were in 2nd grade and said, gosh, I said to my friend, how did you get that like ding dong or hostess thing in your lunch? And your mom, she goes, well, my mom puts those in. She goes, your mom makes your lunch?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that in 2nd grade that moms made their kids' lunch. But it's good for me. You know what? Collins is going to be in 2nd grade before I know it. He needs to start working on his lunch. Yeah, but all of those things were good for us. And
you guys took care of your stuff, your homework, your project.
We just did it.
I
know.
You did.
I know.
And look how it worked.
It did work. It did work.
It work for everyone?
Yeah. Can we tell the story of so my mom was very sought after, as for anyone who's watching this podcast on our YouTube channel will know, because she's a total knockout. And she's single. Just going to throw that out there.
A few drinks.
I have. But what I will say is that I loved a lot of your boyfriends. There were some really great ones. There were some not so great ones, if we can be honest. There were some weird ones.
Yes, we remember.
We will not name any names to protect the innocent. But you came, this is just kind of a little small snapshot of what it was like to have Anne as your mom. Single mom life in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You came to our band performance. So Alex is in the 8th grade. And he's playing drums, he's playing percussion, and I was in the 5th grade band or 6th grade band, and I was playing flute. And there was a video taken from, the music teacher set up a video. This was in the big parish hall. It's a big performance for all the parents. And the video camera's in the very back of the room. They don't have the high-tech stuff they do now. And they recorded the whole thing, and then they watched it back in 8th grade music class to see how good everyone looks during class, during my brother's class. And my mom is in the back row of the performance, during the performance, making out with her boyfriend.
Just kissing. It wasn't really making out.
Oh, is there a difference between kids?
So this is why I begged him to go, because everything that I went to as a single parent, I was there alone.
Yeah.
And so when I begged him to come with me, meanwhile, he had 3 other children, he came, and I was just so excited. I thought, well, what parents?
You're like, well, I want to make sure that he comes back to more events.
To me, it wasn't even unusual. It was just kind of natural.
No, it was
But
just so great.
The
The other parents were not kissing, turns out. There needs to be more making out at band performances. I'm just going to say that's going to be the tip, the takeaway, really, from this. I know. So poor Alex. God bless him. So, yeah. So all of his friends are like, whose mom is that? And it was this special lady right here. It was special. There were a lot of men who, had their chance, and just none of them survived. Okay, these are 2 that I'm going to put together, because you told me that this was the same answer when I told you about these questions. What parenting decision was hardest for you, and what parenting decision are you proudest of?
And it's the same one. When my son was going into high school, we were living in Michigan, and his father wanted him to go back to Denver and go to his high school, which was a great high school, a college prep school. And I had full custody, but I kind of let Alex decide.
Yeah.
And so I sold the house, left my friends, left my boyfriend.
Well, hold on. First, Alex moves, and you and I are together for a year.
That's true. I said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go.
And then after that 1 year apart.
But being apart from
Yes.
him was horrible.
I think that was when you realized.
Separated.
Yeah.
So the hardest decision was
To then leave your
quit
life.
my job, move out there, leave my family in Michigan, and leave my friends, because we had a big network of friends.
And because you knew that Alex and I should be
We
together.
should be together. And I mean, it was a good school, and your dad offered to pay for your college. That was,
Yeah.
that was the thing. Here's a carrot. I'll pay for their college tuition.
That seems like a pretty good
They
carrot.
can go anywhere they want.
But that
Okay.
belittles the decision that you made. That undermines the decision that you made. Because, Mom, I have said this to you, but I think it is the most when I actually step back and think about it, and I have, when I actually can put myself in an adult brain and think about where you were and what that must have been like to leave your boyfriend, who I loved. He was maybe my favorite of all of yours at the time. Your job, and to move to Colorado to then be around my dad and my stepmom.
Sports cars.
And it was one of those things that I think that would have been probably one of the hardest things ever. And yet you did it. And then when we went to college, you moved back to Michigan. And I remember thinking, well, she's going to, of course, stay in Colorado. Yeah.
I stayed for a little bit.
Yeah,
a year
you
or so.
stayed. But you did give up a ton. And it was...
But it worked out.
It did work out. And it was a testament to you. It was a huge leap of faith. And you did it for Alex and I. And there was nothing in it for you. There was truly nothing in it for you. And I know you may say, oh...
Your dad.
Okay. See? I'm trying to give you credit. Cut it. I am trying to say...
Decision, and it was the hardest.
Yes.
And it
changed all of our lives. It changed my life. It changed Alex's life. I think truly it put us on a trajectory path. I would have never gotten into Boston College.
Yeah.
I think it was a great high school. I got to play sports at a really high level. That was a big factor in my life. And I think Alex and I being together and the year apart, everyone always asks why Alex and I are so close. I said, well,
Your parents are crazy.
yeah, if your parents are nuts enough, you got to be close with your siblings. No, it was being away from him for that year. I think we finally appreciated each other. And I remember the first time I talked to him on the phone, and you handed me the phone. I'm like, I don't know what to say. He's my brother. This is weird. And then we just started chatting, and it was like, oh, that was nice. That was really nice. So
It all worked out.
thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
And can we also tell?
Have me on your podcast.
Anytime, Mom. Anytime. We may have to start a spinoff where it's just you, just running commentary.
Only if we can do the prelude of wine.
Prelude of wine is very important. Very important. I think we should also take a quick detour and tell the story of how you ultimately knew that it was the right decision to move to Denver. Because I didn't know that was on the table. The other thing that we left out of that story of the decision was that
Football.
it came time for me to decide what I was going to do for high school because I, had the same decision to make.
No, and I'm glad I didn't know it at the time when I killed you.
Mom, that's not true. That's not true. We had talked about it a lot. I told you I wanted to stay. And you said, oh, is that because you feel bad for me? Which was not the answer I was looking for.
I seriously forget parts of
You do. And that's
that
okay.
I'm not comfortable to.
That's fine. I think that's a very healthy defense mechanism. It could be the wine too. I don't know. But I thought we were staying in Michigan. I just thought there's no way that both of our kids can move to Denver. Like that's not an option. So I thought we were staying. And then you come home one night. I didn't even know. I kind of knew you went to a Michigan football game, but I had no idea.
Colorado.
So go ahead and tell
alma
briefly the
mater.
story. So
And I
your two alma
graduated
maters.
From the University of Colorado.
Yes.
And then I graduated from grad school at Michigan. And football games are big in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
100,000 people in the stadium. So I'd been making lists, pluses and minuses of moving versus not moving, and it was hard, and I was so fed up with it. So I just said, hey, to my boyfriend, whoever wins this game, that's where I'm going. I'm not deciding anymore.
I mean,
I don't know if it would have really happened, but so the thing is, Michigan was winning, and then in the last
the whole
minute-
game.
the whole game, in the last minute, you're the sports announcer.
No, it was the Hail Mary. It was the greatest
Well,
play
I realized in the last minute when I thought Michigan was going to win,
that you were sad.
Then I wasn't going to go to Colorado. That it wasn't the right move, and I was very sad.
And so that probably
And
should have told you
The
something.
Hail Mary.
And then the fact that they won on one of the most famous plays in the history of college football on a Hail Mary at the last second. And
80 yards.
yes.
Was it?
Cordell Stewart. I mean, I think it was 75. And Rick Neuheisel was the offensive coordinator at the time, and who I became a colleague of mine at Pac-12 later. And he was telling me the story one time on a podcast we were doing together of how at halftime of that game, they threw a Hail Mary. And when he went into the,
the end of
locker room, he said, hey, if we get another chance to do this, and he drew up the exact Hail Mary as it actually then was called.
Yeah.
And so Michael Westbrook, it was really cool because I got to meet him.
I did too.
Yeah.
Hear 'em.
And I got to tell him the story live on the air about how that catch totally changed my life. And I think, again, you probably would have realized how you felt,
Right.
that was a sign that you needed. But the fact that it was a Hail,
was
I mean,
cosmic.
it was just like God being
The
like,
message
hey,
from heaven.
I am just going to make this as easy as I possibly can for you. And you come
It is
home.
true.
And I'm just sitting at the kitchen table, and you're like, I mean, I think you must be hammered because you were so giddy. You were laughing. Did you see the game? I had obviously did not see the game. And I was just sitting there at the kitchen table looking at you like, what are you talking about? You're just going on and on and on. Yeah, I was in 7th grade. And you said, we're moving to Denver. That's it. They won on a Hail Mary. We're moving to Denver. And I'm like, what?
I
Okay.
had my Colorado, my gold.
You did.
And I
You
put it
knew
on
who
and I
you
walked
wanted.
across near the stadium, across the golf course, and the tailgaters, and it was silent because no one could believe that we lost to Colorado.
And you were going nuts, right?
I was happy.
And I'm sure your
I was rubbing
boyfriend
it
was
a little
super
bit.
excited about that too because he knew you were leaving.
The one I left.
Oh man.
No, it was good.
So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
That was a good move, and thank you for that. Yeah, Cordell and Michael Westbrook, love you guys. Okay, back to the list of questions. When I became a mom, what surprised you most?
That you were so good at it.
Really?
Yeah, you did know that.
I mean, tell me
You
more about
never-
that though.
You never complained. You never complained.
Oh.
All the hard parts, and you're nursing, and you're not sleeping,
Yeah.
and you just did it, but you never complained, which is amazing.
Thanks, Mom.
And you have an incredible, amazing husband.
Oh,
And I was
I do.
so happy that you picked well.
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
we love
thank you for staying with Ashley.
Yeah.
Don't ever leave her.
Thanks
I'll
for.
kill you.
If you leave me and you disappear, this is going to be counted as evidence.
Just kidding. Don't cut that.
Cut that.
He's amazing.
He is amazing. And I feel very lucky because obviously I wouldn't have the life that I have if it wasn't for him. But he is the perfect person for me and the perfect dad.
He's an amazing dad.
Yeah. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect
incredible.
parent, but he is as good as they get.
And blessed by a wonderful son-in-law and a wonderful daughter.
Yes.
And
that is a gift.
Makes life so much better.
Oh.
So thank you to those parents.
Yes.
And those kids.
Love that. Yeah. Well said, Mom. No, and I think that's another thing when you that's what I want for both of my kids more than anything is for them to find people who they can build a family with and experience having kids and all the things that come with that. And
some of my grandchildren look like me, which I love.
That's true. Who do you think looks more like you, me or Alex?
Well, probably Alex.
Because he was your beautiful child. Walked right into that one.
He looks like my family. No, both of you are better looking than your dad and I ever were.
I don't think that's true. You guys were hot back in your day. I've seen pictures. Back in the disco days. Disco duck.
Uber.
Oh, I'm glad that I didn't complain because those were some dark days early on. And you were very helpful and have been. And when you texted me out of the blue one time on the couch, and this was when I knew I must have been just a lot of hormones, postpartum, like exhausted, emotional. You texted me something about you are such a great daughter. And I just sobbed, like full, like hiccup crying.
Oh.
And so I would say that your family wasn't good. Obviously, if your mom never told you I love you, then you have changed that trajectory because even though I wouldn't say that we were always the most effusive with each other, because I just don't think that was how you grew up and but I feel loved by you and you always told me that you love me. And so thank you for doing that. Yeah.
That's her nickname. Smash.
Let's cut that too.
No, to hear directly, and you're right. I
it
grew up
is.
with the need direct.
Yeah. And it's important. It is important. You think you know, right?
You're doing this podcast called Your Mom is amazing.
I know. It's inspirational. We have a little puppy over here who wants to come say hello. He's cute. I know how much you love dogs. She loves them. Loves them. Okay. This feels like a weird question to ask, but again, it's just on the list from Judy. So what are you most proud of me for as a mom?
I am most proud of you for combining motherhood. Ashley's a great mother. Her kids are great. And you make a lot of time for them. It seems like to me anyway.
I try to. I always feel like I could make more, but yeah.
And you combined it with building a career that's doing what you love to do.
Yeah.
I think, right? Talk?
Yes.
Just talking, right? What you do?
This is... No, you're exactly right. It's you're doing what you love, which is talk. It's never been put quite that simply, but you're exactly right, Mom.
Sports reporter.
Yep.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, talking. But it's just talking.
You know a lot about football?
Yeah.
You know, I'm amazed. Just that you put it together and you sustain your marriage. And I'm sure you work at that and you work at being a mother.
Thanks, Mom.
And you work at your career. And my kids are so great that I can't even talk about them with my friends because I'm afraid they'll be jealous. How's that for motherly?
That was the perfect answer. Wow. Okay. That was good. Thank you, Judy, for that question. That was a good one. Whew. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. I think I do. I appreciate you saying that I make time for my kids because I try really hard and sometimes I think I don't enough or that there's just not enough time in the day. And, you know, the irony again of having a podcast about motherhood when it takes me away from time with them is sometimes not lost on me. But if you guys ever watch this one day, just know this podcast is for you. It's not for me. It's for you. Okay? Just don't forget that.
They'll tell you if you think you're not
I know.
spending time with them.
Okay, this is one of my favorite ones. What is one external thing that you're glad I inherited from you? So,
was going to say long legs.
Yes.
Deep set eyes.
Oh, long legs and deep set eyes. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Both those are good things.
so, definitely.
I remember when I was in probably fourth grade, and I was putting on my Girl Scout uniform and it was a skirt and I thought it looked so bad and I was crying, like standing in the mirror, just, you came out of your room and you said, Ashley, one day they're going to love your long legs. Am I right? Am I right to your boyfriend who was standing right there? Do you not, are long legs not a good, and he was like, oh, you know, your mom's right. And I'm like, okay, I don't think I want to. And you're right. Long legs are a thing. It turns out.
They're a thing.
Who knew?
You walk faster.
Who knew?
So.
Okay. Well, thank you for my long legs.
Okay.
I appreciate those and my deep set eyes. What is one internal thing that you're glad that I got from you?
I think I have a sense of humor.
Yes, you do.
I would say your emotional intelligence. I don't know that I have as much as you do.
Intuition. I think that you are incredible at being in tune, almost to a point that I think that you overthink things sometimes. But in the reality is you're very in tune to what people may think. And you are so good at, yeah. I mean, you're just, Mom, you're classy as hell. You're a classy broad. You write thank you notes. You always think to bring the right tablecloths and make sure you taught me how to fold. You taught me how to fold towels so that my future in-laws wouldn't think I was raised in a barn, which is what you always were worried about. And all of those little things that, again, like the stuff around the holidays that I just thought was so ridiculous. It does matter. And I think your intuition with people and making sure that people feel taken care of. And you're a host. You are a natural hostess. Yeah, I think it takes you a lot to host people, but it is a love language, and you do it very well. Yes. So I do think I got that from you. Let's keep having more holidays. Yeah. I'm down. More holidays. Okay. How did our relationship grow? I'll answer this too. How did our relationship grow when I became a mom?
I think you appreciated, and you tell me often, how did you do this, of what it took. It's not just the physical labor, it's you're concerned about how they're doing in all ways. And you try to make that the best it can be, but you never know if it's
you never know if it's going to work. That's exactly right. You just keep putting in, you deposit all this money into the bank and you have no idea if it's going to pay anything.
They might turn out like a cake.
They might turn out like a cake. Just keep poking them with a toothpick and like see if it's ready yet. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I think our relationship grew from my perspective in two ways. One, I think I knew as I got older how much I appreciated that you weren't actually trying to ruin my life in high school. Like you were trying to do what you thought was best for me, even though I didn't really see it. And I just think, like you said, I don't know how you did it. And I don't know how you did it on your own. I really don't. Because it takes everything to be able to do it. And you just, you do the best with what you have, which we've talked about a lot. But I think about you all the time and I just think, God, I don't think I'll ever be able to fully say thank you enough. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks for raising me.
Sure. It's a breeze.
You did a great. It was no thing. Just kind of showed up. We did joke. Yeah, I was a little tougher than Alex. Yeah. You used to say that you had a laissez-faire parenting, which is kind of perfect because we're here. And I think it is in some ways true and in some ways the opposite. I mean, because laissez-faire means that you don't really, you don't really care.
Let the market work. You got that, Alex?
That's actually kind of the best parenting philosophy I've heard. Just let the market work and it will work out. Perfectly said, Mom. Perfectly said. I do know what you said. And I also think, and I said this to you this week too, when we've had some great conversations together, is that I think you and I, in the last year or so, have been able to have more honest, direct conversations with each other, which I think we haven't always been able to have. And I appreciate that you, and tell me if you feel otherwise, I can't tell by the look on your face. I think we are both more open to those conversations, or at least recover more quickly from those conversations. I don't know.
You initiate those.
Yes, but you are receptive to them.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I wasn't used to having that.
I know. And that's why I'm saying, that's why I appreciate that you
Yeah.
that you are receptive to them. I know. And it's not as easy. And Cora, if you're listening to this one day, I hope you just tell me the truth, even though I won't be able to handle it. You need that truth teller in your life who it doesn't feel like they're being offensive when they're trying to be, because it's the only thing that I ever, It's just when you first. It's just when you first hear it, because it just feels like criticism, but it's not.
And I'm really good at criticism.
You are excellent at criticism, but you're also excellent at a lot of things. So it's probably been good for me. Okay, if you could drop the most perfect day for you and I, what would we do?
I did this. We would be in Paris
on
vacation.
Yes. Tell me more.
Love my grandchildren, but they wouldn't be around. I wouldn't be caring for them, and you wouldn't be caring for them. And we would drink a little wine, have breakfast in this beautiful place where some young man brings us an omelet,
and some fresh squeezed orange juice.
Yes,
and some pain au chocolat. Yeah, all those things happened this morning.
And you can have a conversation, and you're not
distracted,
and you're not doing the dishes, and someone waits on you.
It is.
And then today we went. I do love shopping.
I do love shopping too. Yeah.
We went shopping in Paris.
Today might have been the perfect day.
Yeah. And the sun, it was the most beautiful day. The sun's been out all day.
Right. Other than the cab driver that you got so mad at, but then we were glad that you got mad at him, because then we got to walk in the sun along the Seine to the Eiffel Tower. So I think it ended up working out well. Okay. I think that's exactly right.
Time to talk.
And then we did a podcast. Is that also part of your perfect day? Okay, good. Good answer. Good answer. You don't need to cut that.
We went to lunch. Yeah. It was great. And we had bread and...
We just had a picnic. Fruits. We just had the most delightful picnic. Cheese, macaron. Fresh strawberries. Yeah. This is the French have it figured out.
The French have it, and they're very relaxed here.
They are.
And they love to be social.
They do. They just sit. They can just be. What is the French saying? The key to happiness, or a loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and thee. That's what we have, Mom.
The ultimate.
This is the most romantic mother-daughter podcast in the history of the world.
I agree. Thank you.
Okay, good. We're almost to the end here. You're doing great. This is even better than I could have imagined. I hope you're feeling good about it. Okay, one day, Collins and Cora, my children, will listen to this. What do you hope they remember you for?
I hope they remember being at my house and having pancakes and watching cartoons. And getting ready for holidays. They love holidays. Easter eggs.
They do.
The Christmas village together. They're just the best. I mean, just the things that you do that come through the year. They're seasonal. And you go through that at all different times of your life, but some of it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember from my childhood.
It's the traditions that you think about. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's exactly what they're going to remember. You are fun.
Quite as strict as their mother. Don't tell her what time you went to bed. No.
What time you went to bed or how much sugar you had. But I have tried to get over my own issues about you spoiling our grandkids, because you're supposed to. Like, you're supposed to spoil your grandkids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't throw them in
and I'm going to give my grandkids all the sugar in the world and put them to bed late and let them watch cartoons. Yeah, but it's going to be okay. They do. That's the thing. Then you have to live with it the next day. It's true. You do have to pay the price eventually. Okay, is there anything that you would want to say to them now?
I love you. You have a great mom and a great dad. Can share what Cora said.
Yeah.
Your dad was watching her this week.
Yeah. So my mom and I are in Paris all week. Thank you, Chris, for being home and watching the kids.
Thank you, Chris.
And Cora, our daughter, who's 3, says to Chris out of the blue, Dada, I am starting to think I love you.
That is so Cora.
Or maybe it was, I am thinking I am starting to love you. So I said, she's almost 4. I think you've put in enough, 4 years is good. That's probably the right amount of time that I want her to just have a man in her life before she decides she loves them. So I think that's a sign of good things to come.
Probably too long.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're just perfect the way that you are, Cora and Collins. They are you guys are the best kids. If I never say it to you other than right now,
love you.
You're the best kids I could have ever asked for. Truly. It's heaven sent. 2 more. Your hope for this chapter of your life.
chapter. This is one of the closing.
This is a season. No, it's just a season. It's just one season out of many seasons. This chapter of your life, how would you describe it right now? And what do you hope for it? What do you want?
Oh gosh, since I'm 67,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm on the over the hump,
You are.
the downswing. But I'm glad that I'm healthy enough to ski with my grandchildren.
Yes.
And to go kayaking with them and ski with my friends. And I just love spending time with my friends.
Yeah, you have built an
Being
amazing
at the
group
book
of friends.
club.
Yeah. You do so much
guys,
now.
Seeing Alex's kids.
Yeah.
Cooking, I never was a good cook. My kids will tell you, and it's true. So
You've gotten really good. You have gotten really good.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. That's another theme of this podcast. It's never too late.
There's still so much more to do. Stay healthy long enough to do it.
And your bucket list item, or something you want to do in this chapter is what?
Find a life partner. Did I say that?
I think you did. You know that we manifest things on this podcast.
Oh.
So go ahead. Go ahead and manifest it.
The requirements.
Yeah, go. Give me like 2 or 3. I can give a couple requirements.
I do feel like tall. I know that's external.
Tall is good. But you got to have a few external things. Tall is important.
Witty.
Funny and witty.
Yeah.
Or at least somebody who can appreciate a good sense of humor. Truthful. Yeah. That's probably plenty. So if there's any tall, witty, truthful gentlemen out there, I'm going to email your mom podcast@gmail.com. Send me a resume and a bio and a full body, I need a full body shot with something next to you that I can measure how tall you actually are. And I'll put you in the queue.
Actually, you're bad.
I think there's somebody out there. I know there is somebody out there for you.
I need to look harder.
You need to be open to it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you need to look harder.
My daughter gives, when you get old enough, your daughter gives you dating
advice.
I
know. What's the best advice I've given you, Mom?
Oh, gosh. Do the podcast.
I've given a lot of it. Yeah, do the podcast. I appreciate that you have been open to this.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Because I knew that it was giving you some anxiety. So you nailed it.
We had to go to Paris.
We had to go to Paris. It's true.
Other than
that, it's just the bare minimum requirements.
This is fun.
This is fun. See, it is fun. I know. Okay, we end this podcast with the same thing every time. And usually we get a video from the kids. I was supposed to get one from Alex and I forgot, so I apologize. But
it's okay. I just saw him.
The best thing about having you as my mom is, and I think I've said this to you, and if I haven't, I'm going to say it directly to you right now, is you taught me what it was like to be an independent, fiercely independent badass who you could just do it. You could just do it.
More of a badass than me.
And maybe badass isn't quite the right word that I'm going for.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know that I was as strong as I was.
You were so strong. You are so strong. You were so strong. And I think I just saw you doing it. And I had empathy, I think, as a kid for how hard it was for you, because I knew it was hard for you. And it wasn't perfect. I was not perfect. Neither were you. But you really taught me what it was. And I remember always feeling, this probably wasn't the healthiest way to look at things, but in all of my years in my 20s, when I was coming up and trying to figure my way out, I always felt like when I wasn't sure exactly where my love life was going to end up, was that
very interesting.
I'm okay. It's probably another podcast. I'm okay by myself. I'm okay by myself. Like, I really felt like I was okay with myself. And I think it was because I had seen you navigate all these different things and have these big time jobs and work so hard and just to pull it all together somehow. And I don't think I ever fully appreciated it until much later in my life. But that was, I got that from you, like that independence and just, you can do it. Yeah, great. I did. I really did. So thank you. I do. And it's huge. And I just, like I said, the thing that I appreciate, the decision that you made that I appreciate more than I could ever say, because it totally fundamentally changed our trajectory, was you moving to Colorado and having Alex and I be together for high school and all the things that came with that. So You nailed it. I hope I never have to make a decision like that for my own kids. But I hope that if I do, yeah, I hope that there's a sign from God like that, that I'll know exactly the right thing to do and I'll make that decision.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thanks, Ashley.
I know. I haven't gotten you to cry yet, so I feel like we just got to keep going. Keep drinking wine. Okay. Any last? What am I missing? Do you want to? Can you tell everyone about your affinity for Bonnie Raitt?
I love Bonnie Raitt.
Why have you loved her so much? Yeah.
Because she sings about heartbreak, I think. She's soulful and she's great. She's beautiful and she has long red hair.
Yeah.
And she's still singing and she just won an award.
Yeah.
So go Bonnie.
Go Bonnie. We love you, Bonnie. We do. I think one day we got to try and meet Bonnie. I hope that we can manifest that to happen. Okay, Mom, this has been better than I could have imagined. Truly. This went way better than I thought it was going to go. I'm not going to lie. You're a natural with a mic in your hand. I don't think you really, because turns out, guess what? You also like to talk. As I do too.
It's true.
It's true. So maybe I got it from you.
It comes from living alone.
This is perfect. I just need to get you a microphone. You can just talk into it all day long.
No, that would
now
be
we
too
know.
much. Alex, I'm calling you.
All right. Cheers to your mom in Paris, the Eiffel Tower. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for taking.
And I can't wait to.
Put me on vacay.
Oh man, I can't wait for what 2.0 of this is.
I could be dead by then.
So there it is. My mom